Oh, there it goes.
Okay.
Hi,
everybody. Hala Citron with I Am Creative and
Domonique S.
So happy that hopefully we'll get some people jumping on. So this is Creative Conversations. So the whole point of these conversations is I get to talk to amazing people, and we get to be inspired by each other's. Hey, Denise. Thank you for tuning in. We get to get inspired by each other and learn about each other. And since this is all about creativity, I'm so grateful and blessed to know. I call her Ms. Dom, but she's going to go into telling about herself. And please join in on the conversation, because that's what helps make the conversation bigger. So let's just jump in. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself before I ask you the first question?
Well, we work together. I'm a first grade teacher in Philadelphia. I've worked in early education for 5 years now, started with pre-K and moved up to first grade. So that's pretty much what I'm doing with my life these days.
Is there an age that you like the best?
I think that I I loved the pre-K age, and they are more creative for sure because they have the ability to be in a classroom setting. But when you see a first grade mind and you let them get creative and you do have the chance, you can see even more knowledge is in their creativity. So they've got more going on because they're just older and they've got more experience.
They can kind of apply it better.
Right. I mean, I've thought about older grades too, just to kind of get more of that. But right now I'm with my first graders, my 6 and 7 year olds.
So I'm going to say Miss Dom really, really inspired me. I just call her Miss Dom naturally instead of Dominique,
right?
Because it's been
Miss
3 years.
Yeah.
But she's going to say what she wants to say as she answers the 3 questions. So basically, in these creative conversations, I ask the person I'm speaking with, how do you define creativity? How do you work it into your life? And why do you think it's important? But I'm just going to say, hopefully it comes up in what you say. She totally inspired me by this plant-based diet that she went on, which my mom actually ordered the book for me.
Amazing. Great.
But so I'm
life-changing.
So I'm going to say, how do you define creativity?
I feel like creativity is whatever you make it. I feel like it has a little bit of an art in it, just because creative is making something, right? So I don't necessarily think it has to stay in an art room with paint and paper, etc. I think that creativity can be in how you dress. It can be in how you speak with people, what you do every day, how you do your day. I was 330 pounds doing my day in a very lazy way. I didn't have physical activity. I was bored. And I used to be someone who would paint bookshelves and do different things around the house where I was remodeling something. And I noticed that stuff stopped. I think because my overall health was just lagging. So I watched What the Health on Netflix with a few other pieces of information in my life.
Which
different
I still
people.
Need to watch.
It's that
So
I was in the middle of watching that, and I was throwing things out in my kitchen. And I will be honest and say that there are still times now where I'll eat cheese. I don't like myself for it because I feel like it's a vegan diet that I adapted. I can say with creativity though, because I think I've made it my own. I'm not following a strict diet that someone gave me specifically. I kind of, if I want to throw something in there that maybe isn't strictly vegan, I'm doing that when I feel like it's okay. I'm testing my limits with, how it makes my body feel. But I feel like that diet change created a new me. I became someone who liked to be outdoors, and it started with me walking my dogs when I made that diet change. And I amplified it each week. I did a little bit more than walking. I would run a block, or when it got cold, I went to the gym. And it was kind of I was not doing my health based on anybody else's. It was, I'm going to create my own. I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to do what I want to do I'll use important information on how to work out and how to take care of your body, but at the pace that I wanted to. I didn't ever want to push myself to a point where I felt frustrated about it, because it was supposed to be a happy part of my life, a good change, something that made me move forward. And I've gone back to painting and creating different things.
Really?
And for sure. And it's funny because it was almost I don't feel like doing that. And now it's like, ooh, when can I get to the next thrift shop and buy that piece of furniture to repaint? And it's kind of like gives you a good feeling in your whole self, just because I did it too. Nobody did it for me.
You made the decision.
I did it.
So can you give me a time frame on how, like, so you were this weight for this period of time, and then how long did it take to make that change?
So I probably about 2010 started putting on weight. I was a senior in high school. I basically started eating out a lot of dairy products, and a lot of it, no portion control. And I got up to 330 pounds in about 4 years. Like, I went from probably like 170, 160 to 330 in
4 years.
And I would say most of it happened in about 2-3 years towards the end.
Okay.
Then it was June of 2017. I watched that documentary. Immediately started eating vegan.
And who told you to watch it? Was there any?
I had another friend, Jeff Jones, who has been vegetarian for as long as I've known him, and then started eating vegan. He suggested it to me. He was just like, just check it out. And when I watched it, it was not just, it had so much to it that made you want to change your diet, like political things included. It made you want to be your own, like, don't let anybody else tell you how you should eat. Use all the information that you gather on your own, create your own. Like, clearly one way is not the only way for so many things in life, and I feel like that's what I embraced. Pick my own, make my own, and be this new me that's like still me, but I've got motivation to be creative and to keep. I've even like thought about adding in a different type of diet into it, like keto, just different things. You hear different things, and if you're closed-minded and you don't open your eyes to different things, like you're just going to be stuck in your ways.
So you kind of touched on a few things, which is about expression. You mentioned that, which is a lot of what I've just been excited about and trying to reinforce is the idea of expression and how you make something yours. But my tagline for I'm Creative is explore possibilities, express yourself, and expand your thinking. So, which is everything that you're.
It's funny. I went to LaSalle University, and our like motto when we went there was never stop exploring. And I feel like I've got stuff in my house that says that. I love road trips, but I don't like to plan that. I like the creative aspect of it. I like the
spontaneity.
Like, we literally picked a destination and then gave ourselves a certain amount of days, and it was like on the way, if we see something we like, we'll stop. It's not going to be like a planned out, and that was more fun. I mean, we looked up destinations that we should check out.
That's fun.
But
I've always wanted to do that.
I did it twice. So we went the one time to Florida. We saw the sunrise on one side, the sunset on another.
Oh my gosh.
That was a decision we made the night before. Hey, do you want to get up tomorrow and do that? And just doing stuff like that, it just makes you feel inspired. It makes you feel excited. It makes you feel like, oh my gosh, I just did that.
Yeah.
And not just to post it on social.
It's my husband.
Oh, hey.
Hi.
Not just to like post it for a like either. Like, I feel like when you go into those things, ironically, I broke my phone on my second road trip. I didn't even have a phone for the one where we went to California, and like I had to look at it different. Like, I got all upset at first, like, oh, I can't take pictures, and it's like, why am I doing it? Not for the pictures, for the actual experience, and to like build my own whatever I wanted that trip to be. And it wasn't like I had some idea of how it was going to be. I knew what my first road trip was like, but like the second one, it was like, this is different states, different people, different everything.
See, that's my husband and I, and he's done it more than me. We drove cross country.
It's amazing.
2 times, and he's done it like 5 times. Hi.
You learn so much from it.
And you do. It's different every time, and you take a different route, and it's different weather, and it's different, like, all this
the weather too. That's
different
cool.
stuff. But, okay, so let's move on to, which you've kind of said, but is there anything else you want to touch on how you incorporate creativity into your life?
Well, I also forgot to mention that I got up to the 330 pounds, but lost 140 of it in about a year and a half based on just simply doing it better. I did not do anything extreme or crazy. I feel like the way I incorporate creativity every day is kind of like beating to my own rhythm. I'm very spontaneous in my decision making. I don't really like plans.
Okay.
Because I feel like that constricts you to this, like, that's how your day has to go. It has to be around that thing that you planned. Not to say that plans aren't important and responsible and keep you organized, but to an extent. Like, if you are mapping out your whole day, every day, where is there room for something different or special to happen? And different and special things keep you motivated and inspired to keep going and keep discovering. Like I see it with my kids. If you give them a little bit of something, they make something of it. Kids, I think that's another reason why I like education, because it kind of keeps you grounded and remembering, and you're around children constantly that have this creative mindset constantly. They're always playing imaginatively and different. I mean, if you stop and listen to a group of kids talking when they don't know you're listening in an appropriate setting, it's amazing. I'm thinking of like some of the boys in my classroom specifically, like, and how they just they'll play and they create something. And I mean, you could give them a piece of paper, turn around, and it's like a whole different creation, and you don't have to tell them how to do it. They'll do it on their own. And
they'll be the first ones to let you know when something isn't going right.
Yes.
Like, you learn, like, if you are not being clear enough, if you are not making it engaging enough, go to a classroom, because you'll be like, okay, I got to be more on point. I have to, like, make this.
They show you with their words or their actions.
Either one. But, you definitely.
I think, too, with that's part of how I experience success in my classroom, is by my creative ways of being a teacher.
Yes.
Like, I had a child who was really into rap and hates math. So the other day we broke down the net worth of rappers, and he looked at the numbers and he actually understood.
Oh my God.
And it was like, that's not in my curriculum. Yes, he understood. He actually was able to kind of like rank the rappers by their net worth, which is a skill in first grade in math, is seeing numbers and knowing their worth and lining them up in order, and that type of, which he was lacking. And it was cool because I was like, oh, this isn't in my curriculum. This is just, hold on, I know he likes this. I know about it and I can do it. And again, I know about it, so I had the ability to, but it's just, you got to think outside the box.
That's exactly what it is. It's thinking outside. You made it.
Who likes to be in a box?
You made it interesting. And you think about when you lived your life, you want it to be interesting. And if it's not interesting, then you're feeling like crap.
Right.
Exactly.
It's boring.
You're feeling unmotivated. You're feeling cranky. You're feeling all those things because you're not pushing the boundaries. You're not. So, I mean, that's what I have to say. And it's not just because she's sitting next to me, but it's why she's sitting next to me. She is an incredible teacher because she has the ability. And you have the ability to get these kids that are like at a level, we say like level 3, which is where they're screaming. She just quietly says in her like this really calm voice, I'm waiting for everybody to be quiet. And they get like, she has 90% of the kids. So you're really good at that.
It's also too, I think, like, knowing when a conversation needs to go a certain way with the kids and creating your own conversation with them, like relate to them real quick and make them, because, kids see teachers as like this authority figure and someone who's, telling them yes, no, etc. And like, if you actually like break down and show them yourself and your actual real person, and that's what I do with my kids. I don't really hide myself from them.
Yes.
And I think that I don't know where, I think I just got off track, but essentially it's just...
No, I think it's connection, which I think that's a whole relationship to things, because I think it's
create it, though.
You have to create connection. So I think connection is with relationships, and I think within relationships, when you have those relationships, then you can create connection to self, and when you can do that, then you feel empowered, and you feel good, and you do all these things. Whereas if you don't have that connection, I feel like you feel more disengaged.
For example, I have a kid now that I figured out he loves pickles, and pickles are his motivator in life, basically. And like, when he does work, he's getting pickles. Thankfully, another teacher shared that with me, but like, just, that's different. You're not like, here, like, who interventions pickles as like, but that's what works for him. Same child with the rapping situation, but like, it's just kind of creating your own relationship with people, creating your own way of living your everyday. Just more or less, don't do what everybody else is doing. And again, I will wear trendy clothes. Vegan is a very trendy diet right now. Not to say that that's, I don't do things that are very like others, but I feel like I like to put my own twist on things and make it my own, because you don't want to be bored and cookie cutter, and you don't get good experiences out of that in life. You just get the cookie cutter experience.
Right.
So I'd like to experience.
Individualization.
And failure comes with creativity, but I feel like you have to kind of, there's that book Ish.
Yes.
Where it's like, it's sun-ish, it's sky-ish. Like, you have to appreciate your failures too, and understand that, like, that actually creates your end result.
Yes.
The failure will get you your success. You just have to keep powering through.
And that's a huge thing, is that we, I know I do for me in my classroom, and is that you're going to mess up. Every day, it's part of this mantra that we do, where we say, what do you know, if you make a mistake, beautiful, oops, try again.
Yep.
Like, and I say, are you going to mess up? In the beginning, they might say no. I'm like, yes, you are going to mess up, but you're not going to, like, crumple it up and throw it away every time.
Right.
Like, you need to figure out
how you handle it.
Turn into something else. Sometimes you do need to start over, but other times, just because you didn't intend to do that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Those can be the best things. And it sounds really cheesy, but these really are lessons that...
Yes, for sure. And I think that's, like, huge as, like, a teacher too, like, where I see that I can't stick to the mold. I have to kind of create my own sometimes to make it work, and that, like, makes it work for me, keeps everybody happy. You know, you have to kind of create your own. I just, like, can't stop saying that.
Well, and our students aren't the kind of kids that are, it's not to say, I mean, I can just speak to our population. Our population is very fast, move. They're not interested, they will tell you.
Yeah,
and
they will show you.
They will show you, and it will
their
be
own creative
a very
ways.
difficult time. So, okay, so to the last question, which is, why do you think, which we've kind of touched on, but why do you think creativity is important? Let's kind of re-emphasize that.
Just, it creates your own path, it creates your own story, it creates your own you. You will get, I just feel like you'll get bogged down if you don't let yourself create new things, or you will be so much like something else that you won't be your own. And, like, you clearly want to experience different things in your life and them to be successful and happy and positive. And yes, you'll experience those failures and such, but I think it's just so important to, like, constantly let yourself be creative. Like, let yourself have that quick little failure, or, like, try a new outfit on, try a new style, drive a different way to work.
Yeah, so important.
That's, like, something, that's, like, a weird little thing that I'll do. It's just switch it up, because, like, if you get in your same ways, like, it's hard to get out of them. And if you're constantly creating new ways of doing things, it'll be easier to adjust to things. You know, I grew up in one political setting, and
yes, you did.
I have created, I've created my own fresh, new way of thinking like that. And I feel like if I would have stuck in that and would have just listened to what I was told and went with that, I wouldn't be teaching in the school I'm in. I know that for sure. I wouldn't be where I'm at, and I like where I'm at, and I like that. And I feel like even if it was the opposite end, where I was raised in one political setting and now I'm seeing another, it's just, you can't stay in you have to create new things for yourself.
Yeah.
You have to create your own political opinion, your own opinions about things. You have to, it makes you, and people appreciate you when you're your own.
You know what? I think that is a perfect place to end it at, because it's telling your story. Everybody has one, and it's just a matter of how much you decide to write it.
For sure.
Because it's going to be written anyway. So the story is going to be written. So
exactly.
You get to decide how to be the author as much as you can. There are going to be things that get in the way, but it's all in your perspective and how you handle things. So. And
never hesitate to share, because I feel like that's how I've actually just developed relationships with people, is by sharing my story and sharing what's happened with me. I have relationships with people because of it. So it's, I think, important to share your own stories with others, because it also will inspire other people to create their own and want to be their own. So, which is why, gratefully, she said she'd be willing to do this. This is her first live, because she did inspire me to get the book, Thug Kitchen, Eat Like You Give a Fuck. So yes. I'm so excited. Which Jill recommended to me. I thank her for that. It's so cool. It's so interesting. And again, it's not your average cookbook. They created it their own way. There's curse words throughout that motivate you to keep cooking and keep powering through, and don't be silly, take care of yourself, you know, like that type of mentality. Yeah. So anyway, Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for doing this. And so Creative Conversations, the whole point is to create connection and listen to people's perspectives and hear everybody's stories. So
and don't hesitate to reach out to me if you want more of my story.
yes. So her name and information, which she's on Facebook, will be linked. So please connect and explore possibilities, express yourself, and expand your thinking. Next live will be coming up, and I think it's snowing. Is it snowing?
Yeah, it is snowing.
Yeah.
I was kind of curious about that, but I didn't want to keep staring out and seeing if it was snowing or not.
Like pollution falling from the sky.
It's possible.
Maybe that's what it is. So
But
anyway,
it looks a little snowy.
next conversation coming up soon. We'll let you know. I'm going to start to have one once a week, and this is just really fun. So
Thanks.
enjoy the rest of the day. It's Thursday. So
Yay.
yay for Thursday. Have a good evening, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.